So here we are. This is something that I really wanted to do for a very long time. I've been planning this, and I wanted to go with a mod collection for Kerbal Space Program that was slightly more realistic, and the mod list is in the description. And now you are looking there and seeing that I'm using Mech Jeb, and yeah, I'm using Mech Jeb because it is frankly. You know, in spaceships, you tend to program and pre-program your flights and your burns and stuff like that. So I actually think that it's more realistic with Mech Jeb than it really is without. So let's just go ahead. I'm starting all the way from scratch today. I'm starting a career mode game. And we're going to call this KSP Realism. I had some mods that I wanted to play, but sadly they were not compatible with other mods, so that just made it well, it didn't work with those mods. So that's why the mods that are in the list are the ones that are there, because they work together. And as I'm playing 0.023, some of the mods I had to wait for to get updated to this state of the game, so that's why we are where we are. But let's just go straight ahead and select the tree here. We're going to select the KSP Interstellar tech tree, because that gives us access to all the different Interstellar parts, plus all the normal and all the KB Rocketry parts. So we're just going to load that. And the TAC Lifesupport, I am going to use the default resource amounts for this and just have it enabled and let it sit there. So at the moment, as you know, in the research bay we have absolutely nothing. We have no research, and the next things to be researched are these kind of it's the stack decouplers and decoupler stuff, like well, you really need it to build bigger spaceships, because you need to be able to decouple parts in order to have your control parts land safely. But first part of the mission is going to be just launching a simple basic rocket and taking that as far into space as possible and collecting as much science as we can. So not many options here in the beginning. We need a pod, we need some fuel for this, and I'm expecting it can carry and land with just about 2 or 3 of these tanks. Let's take 2 on this one, stick an engine on that, and let's go for no heat shields. We don't need that yet because we're not going that far out, and we need a parachute here at the top to have us land safely back to the ground. And when we launch this, we should make sure that we land in water, so we can take a bigger impact landing on water than if we land on ground. So let's call this prototype 1. Save that. And I have my sequence here. We're going to have a sequence that sets us first start the engine, then when we fall back down again, we're going to unfold the parachute. We have no decoupler, so it's not very complex. Let's just launch that. Oh, I'm seeing now my picture here from the webcam is actually underneath the logo here. 2 seconds, let me move that. Just a little bit over here. I think we can still see what I'm doing in the game. Yep. We want to press T to enable the SAS. That's a stabilizing system that will stabilize the trajectory of the rocket, so we'll fly straight up and don't need to use any of the controls to keep the vessel flying straight. I am then going to throttle up this bad boy by pressing Shift, and we are going to use, here is about 66% throttle. And then it's just a matter of pressing. Space to launch the vehicle, and we're just going straight up and falling straight down again. And when we reach the top, we're going to collect some science, and we're going to use that to research space. Let's go. And because of the momentum, it's going to keep rising. Let's look at the map, zoom in and see how our top trajectory is. Our apoapse, how high is this? At 17 kilometers. And we're going to wait until 17 kilometers, and we're going to take a crew report there. 17 kilometers, right click on the control thing and take a crew report. Yes, that is some science, and we're going to keep this data. And what the heck, I'm going to try an EVA report. So that's clicking on the image, take the EVA report, keep that, and click on my Kerbal here. Let's press F to board again. And we're back in the capsule, so we have both a crew report from inside the capsule and an EVA report, and we are falling back down to the ground, and I am going to deploy our parachute, and it looks like we did not go off course enough here, so we are going to hit the ground when we're coming back down. In fact, we might going to hit the space center, which is not good. I'm going to disable the SAS to let the parachute guide the direction of the capsule while we're falling here. And when we hit about 500 meters, the parachute will go from its drag chute state to fully deployed. And about 10 meters per second with the parachute unfolded, I guess it's okay, and I don't think we're going to hit anything valuable here at the Space Center, although it's rather embarrassing coming down on top of the Space Center again. I didn't plan for this. Boom! That was the engine in one of the fuel tanks. Luckily it was empty of fuel, so it's just the unit itself exploding. So didn't cause any extremely big explosions, just small explosions. And our crew survived and our pod is fine. That was what was the goal of this. mission. So press escape. Let's go back to the space center. And let's go to the control center here, and let's recover this vessel. Recover this, yes we want to. And that's going to give us a total of 14 new science. That's more than we need to research the next level and get our decouplers. So let's go to the research center. And let's use 5 research to research this. We get some bigger fuel tanks, some scientific mystery goo experiments, stack decouplers, SRBs, solid rocket boosters, all useful parts. And I've got a further 9 science to use, but I don't think any of this is at that low cost. Nope. So now we need to design a rocket to go much further into space. This can now, because we have the stack decouplers, be a multi-stage rocket. So first we want to make it so that we can decouple the control part from the rest of the rocket, so that the only thing we're going to have to take back into Kerbal atmosphere is this capsule. The rest we could just ditch in space and let it fall back by itself. So now we have much better braking options, and the capsule will land with much less speed and much less impact on the surface. So this is basically the same rocket as we had before, but now we're going to put a decoupler at the base of this engine. Sorry about that. To move the whole thing a little bit up here, we're going to put a fuel tank that is twice as big as the one we had before at the bottom. We're going to put an engine, the same type of engine at the bottom of that, and we're going to use these solid rocket boosters that we got now, these white things. And I'm going to press X, and I'm going to put 4 of those at the bottom. Now this might be a little bit overdoing it, because these generate a combined lift of, let's see, we've got here thrust 149 compared to the 215 thrust of the main engine. That means we have approximately 3 times the power of the first rocket that we sent into space, which of course means 3 times as fast acceleration with the same weight, but now we've put on a weight that is at least 3 times as big. So I expect this to burn out at about 15 kilometers in height. I don't know how long these solid state rocket boosters are going to burn, but we're going to get at least to 15 kilometers with this first stage, and then we got the second stage up here, which we don't need to throttle up as much as we did before, because we are going to be in thinner air and not encounter as much resistance, so we can have this burning for longer. And if I had a smaller engine, I would actually have liked to make a very small transit stage here on top with the control stage, but that's not an option at the moment. And frankly, all we need to do is go further into space, and the goal for this mission is to get above 70 kilometers, which is in Kerbal Space Program that's where space starts. Thinking again, I actually think we may need to put an extra fuel tank. Like, oh, that's a big error. Let's go back like that. You can press Ctrl C like in any other program to undo actions. Let's reduce this by right-clicking here, using Shift X to go back to 1. piece assembly. I think this is it, and let's name that one prototype. 2, save it. From experience, this will be these Solid rocket boosters. If you don't know, they come from the KV Rocketry pack. I think this is actually about it. This should be enough. And as we're ready here, we're going to go through the same procedure as last launch. We're going to enable the SAS system, and this time we're going to boost to 100% before launch. And this mission here was, as I said, to go above 70 kilometers in height. Yes, and we're ready for launch. 3, 2, 1. No, we're not. Staging. Good thing I remembered this. We need to have the solid rocket boosters here. Ignite at the same time. We then need to have this decoupler activate at the same time as this engine. We then need to have the last decoupler on top, and then the parachute. Good thing I didn't launch there. We are ready now for the KSP Realism program's first mission into space. That's above 70 kilometers in 3, 2, 1. There's a glitch in huge glitch in the streaming program here. Sorry about that, but all I did was turn down the volume of the Kerbal Space program so you can better hear what I'm saying. I think we may even need to turn that down a little further. 2 seconds. The first stage is at about 20%. And we are at 23 kilometers. I'm going to do something here called a gravity turn. I'm going to turn slightly to one side. That should have been east, but it's not. I'm going to the next stage. And we're going to go 90 degrees east here. Get that balance out right there. I'm going to turn down the throttle here to 33% because we are actually accelerating at a tremendous pace at the moment. Going into map view, see how we're doing. I think we could actually do an orbit with this vehicle now, but as this is not the goal to get into orbit, we are going to go as high as we possibly can. Which at the moment is 200 kilometers, 300. I'm going to stop this at 400. We don't need any more than this. 400 kilometers above the surface. So we more than exceeded our mission goals for this one at the moment, and we still have about 10% fuel that we can use to decelerate when coming back towards the surface and atmosphere of Kerbin. And look at little Jebediah down here. He is quite satisfied with the state of the mission at the moment. And all we can do now is actually just about wait. So let's do some time accelerating on this one. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to go away for a minute here. The phone is ringing. I'm sorry about that. I'm back. We're back. And we are approaching... let's look at the map view here. We are approaching perhaps of 407 kilometers. Let's time accelerate towards that again. Look at the glorious planet. Kerbal. As we're slowly clawing our way away. And let's time accelerate some further. $401, 2, 3. Yes, let's start doing our scientific stuff here. Let's take our crew report. Keep that. Let's do an EVA here. As we don't need to fly away from our little spaceship here, we don't need to bother about that. 8 more signs here. Let's keep that. Let's press F and board the spaceship again. And that's about all we can do here at the moment. Yes, we've got some stored data, we've got a lot of oxygen and food, and everything looks to be A-okay. And we're gonna start falling back towards Kerbal now. And we're going to let the spacecraft accelerate towards Kerbal. Where does it say we're going to hit water? About over here, yes. And when we get up to a good speed here, it's time to accelerate that. Let's point the spaceship straight up and then use A-burn to decelerate the ascent. Yeah. And let's separate from that engine like so. Let that fall back by itself. And now let's look at the map. We're going to hit water right around here. And because we used that little engine to decelerate our descent here. We're not going to hit the atmosphere as hard as we did last time, I think. Or not last time. Or hard enough that it's any danger. Because I'm using deadly reentry and this heats up the things when they're going back into the atmosphere. But as we have a heat shield built in at the bottom of this capsule, all we need to do is make sure that the bottom of the capsule here is pointing towards our trajectory, and that will make sure that we have enough heat shield that we're not going to burn up when we re-enter the atmosphere. I just remembered now what we forgot to do. We forgot to put some goo canisters on this little vessel, because we could actually have gotten a lot of more science out of this mission. Sorry about that. If we had goo canisters mounted on this capsule. We're going to do that for the next mission, and I think we're going to go for a complete orbit in the next mission and do some more science stuff and try to deplete the science of goo canisters at different heights above the Kerbal surface here. And at 70 kilometers we are back into the Kerbal atmosphere. Let's just try and keep this pointed in our general direction of travel here. So 50, you should start to see re-entry effects now. We're coming in at just about 2 kilometers per second. And it's still accelerating, and it's decelerating heavily now. And it's starting to show re-entry effects. Let's just slow it down to normal. It reached 400 degrees Celsius, so it's not even close to any kind of limits. And slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. It's all the wind resistance slowing us down now. I will disable the SAS, let the capsule stabilize itself. And at about 1,000 meters, we can start to deploy the parachute. Give us a little drag chute here. Slowing us down even further. Oop, parachute deployed, and we're down to 6 meters per second, and we're just gently floating down towards the oceans of Kerbal here. Great mission. Until now, total success, unless, of course, Jebediah Kerman drowns when he tries. I'm sorry. Jebediah drowns when he tries to exit the capsule here. But I don't think he will. So that was a successful mission 2. Let's resume that. Cut the engine. Always need to cut the engine before going back to the space center here. Otherwise, you're going to cancel the entire mission for some reason. Let's go to the control center and recover our spaceship. Recover that. Yes, I want to recover. That is 30 new science Yay! Or 21 new science, bringing us to a total of 30. Like so, yeah. Let's go straight away into the research center and research stuff with our new research points. So, this has new rockets. It's got Separatrons, Rockomax, back solid fuel booster. It's aerodynamic parts, aerodynamic nose cone, AVT1 winglet, keeping us stable during launches. It's a radial decoupler, so that's good for decoupling solid rocket boosters from the main rocket. And down here we got some smaller engines, more efficient engines, landing struts, which would actually make us capable of landing vehicles on other planets, and of course landing more gracefully back at the planet Kerbal when we're coming down. And we got some parachutes here for radial mount, that's side-mounted parachutes. But I think at the moment what is actually the most interesting is this radial decoupler, because this allows us to ditch solid rocket boosters when they're burned out. So I think we're going to go for this one. And the second most interesting one is of course this one that has the small LV909 liquid fuel engine, which is doesn't have a lot of thrust, but it's a lot more. It has a lot better ISP, a lot better performance or endurance performance. This can make fuel last longer. It has an ISP of 300 versus the original LVT30, which has an ISP of 320. So making fuel last longer is important. Now we are going to build an adjusted version of this rocket, since we know that with 4 solid state boosters we have more than enough power to lift this vehicle. I'm going to add a little bit more fuel to this, since we're going to be adding weight to the total ship size, and we're going to use some of the here we go, radial decouplers, and we're going to attach one here, and we're going to attach a solid state booster to that, like so. I think that's in the middle. Is it in the middle? Sits in the middle. We're going to pick up this one. We're going to replicate this again. Now this time we're not going to use 4 but 6 solid state fuel boosters like that, and we're going to put those into a staging group with our main engine here at the bottom. We're then going to have these radial decouplers in one stage. We're then going to have the decoupler here on with the second stage engine. And so we got our stages set up, and we are going to go put some science equipment on this one. We're going to put some... Oh, sorry, no, we're not going to do that. We are going to do something here that allows us to put much more science equipment on this vessel. We're going to separate the rocket here below the control part, and we're going to use this modular girder segment and put one of those at the bottom here. Yes. We're then going to use a thick 0.625 millimeter heat shield. No, it's not that one. It's the big one, like that. So it's a 1.25 meter heat shield. We're going to mount that at the bottom of this, like so. And now we're going to take our scientific experiments, and we're going to mount these in here under the control part, so that they can be shielded from heat by the heat shield below. Yeah, as you see. Oh, we need to move those a little bit further up. Place them like that. second. I'm not sure that heat shield is mounted correctly. It is. Now it's mounted, right? So that heat shield now covers some of the base of those goo canister experiments we got here. So that should protect those when we're coming back down through the atmosphere. And I think this parachute is still going to be enough to break us to a safe speed to have us land safely on water. So I guess that this is going to be the rocket for our next experiment. So this is the mystery goo orbit experiment 1. Anything we can put on this that I forgot to put on it. Flight unit, computer. Not 4 of those. No, just 1. This gives me some data here. First of all, about the cost, about the mass of the rocket. I don't need that. I don't need that. So in all, this rocket gives me about 4,666 meters per second of delta V. Pretty good. First stage will burn out in 21 seconds. Second stage will burn out after 1 minute 53.5 seconds. And the last stage has fuel for 33 seconds. At full power. I like those stats. I think that's good. So we can take this off again. Ditch that. And I think it looks rather good too. It looks like a real rocket, doesn't it? I think it does. I'm going to save it again here, just for... And we are going to launch this. And now I'm going to do something weird. Because we have different biomes at different heights on the planets, I'm going to use one of these goo experiments at this level, and we're going to observe the mystery goo at this level. And right away you see this is giving us 3-point science, and we're going to keep that. I'm going to go through our regular procedure now. I'm going to turn on the SAS. I'm going to boost up to 100%. As we have no aerodynamic features on this rocket, it's actually the gimbaling effect, the nozzle of the rocket that's able to turn in a direction and push the rocket a little bit in that direction that's steering us. So if we don't have full throttle now, we can't actually steer the rocket, and the stabilizing system won't be able to keep the rocket stable. So this is the Mystery Goo Orbital Experiment Mission 1, going to an altitude above 70 kilometers with Mystery Goo experiments in 3, 2, 1. Decelerate a bit again, and we're down to 170, 60 meters per second, and we're starting to increase our acceleration again. And we should be starting to think about turning this whole thing eastward now. Trying to use the control center to turn east. It's about 10 kilometers. We should be at least 5 degrees east using this is to use the rotation of the planet Kerbal to accelerate us into orbit. It's called a gravity turn, by the way. exactly this. We can start increasing our gravity turn here. And we are at about 33% throttle now. And we are a lot higher. We are at 22 kilometers now. Let's increase the turn a little bit more. Let's put it at just about 40, about 60 degrees now. Go into map view and see our projected trajectory so far. We are actually very much above 70 kilometers, and that's the first stage burning out. Going to ditch that, turn off the engine, and we're going to wait with the next burn until we are at our apoapse, where we're going to place a maneuver point. And we're going to plan a maneuver that's going to take us into an orbit around Kerbal. Just comparing apoapse and periapse here, because we want to place those 80, 100, that's too much. If they are actually opposite here, should be about right. 79 and 83. If we complete this burn, we'll be in a near circular orbit. We can actually now move the nose of the vessel towards this blue dot indicator here, which is the direction we need to be facing when doing our burn. And at the bottom here we can see that we have 40 seconds until we need to start this burn. I'm going to start it a little bit before, because we want to complete the burn around this maneuver node instead of on top of the maneuver node. And we're going to burn estimated 46 seconds, so I'm actually going to start this at about 15 seconds before. That is about now. And if I remember correctly, we do not have enough fuel to complete a 40-second burn, because I think the Kerbal Engineer said we only had enough for 30, so we could actually end up caught in space here if we use all our fuel. So I'm going to not let it burn all of this fuel, and when we have about here, I'm going to cut it, and we're going to just use experiments at this height, and we're going to keep a lot of that data. Let's just use as many of these as we can, as long as we are at this altitude. So this was not what I wanted to do. We definitely didn't have enough delta V here on the last stage to put the vehicle into orbit. But we're going to keep a lot of these experiments. We're going to do another crew report, and we're going to keep that. And we're going to do another EVA. And we're also going to keep that EVA report, and we're gonna go back. So this was high above the sea at Kerbal that we explored all these experiments, and I think we are going to put the vehicle in. There's a vector here down at the nav ball that's indicating the opposite direction of our travel, and that's here. And I think I'm going to put the rest of our burn in here when we get down to about 50 kilometers, and then ditch. No, in fact, let's not do that, because if I decouple from the last stage, if we're inside atmosphere, it's going to mess with. It's going to not want to break off, because the wind resistance is going to push it back towards the control part. We don't want that, so let's just burn it now. Let's ditch it like that. And then just have our control part here with our experiments gently falling back towards the Kerbal surface. We need to make a rocket with a lot more delta V in the last stage, and we need to make a more effective lifting stage for this. But this will bring us plenty of science to. This is going to bring us plenty of science to research some better solid state boosters, and we could also try now building boosters out of liquid fuel parts. And we're coming into the atmosphere at a much more flat angle this time, so it's not going to, or we're going to arrive in the atmosphere. You know, the atmosphere gets thicker and thicker and thicker as long as you descend down through it, and if you break down at the softer upper parts where it's not as dense, there's not as much heat development. So you need to plan the right angle of attack into the atmosphere to break you down enough, so that you actually come back down to the surface and don't just skip across the atmosphere. Like, you know, when you throw a stone onto water, you can make it skip on top of the water, because that's actually in danger of happening when you re-enter the atmosphere at too high speed. You can't get into the atmosphere because you keep getting pushed out by the denser atmosphere below. And if it doesn't break you enough, you're going to end up going back out into space. Well, this was a great re-entry. This is pressure waves from the air around the capsule, those white things. And I'm going to deploy the parachute, which actually somehow also has the heat shield fall off. But it's still following us at the same speed. I'm going to disable the SAS here, let the aerodynamics take over the control of the vehicle. But what is that heat shield doing? It's still attached to the vehicle, but I don't know what the... Did it fall down there? Yeah. So it just followed us while we were having the parachute deployed, and it had actually come off when I deployed the parachute. Well, we only need it for the first part of the re-entry, so it doesn't really matter. And now it's now that it's actually gone, it's actually less weight that we need to break, and less weight hitting the water. So G's will not be as high when we're hitting, not as much of an impact now. $70, $50, $40, $30, $20, $10. Impact. Raise the mission. Out of our engines. Escape. Go back to the space center. You are moving on. Oh, sorry. No, we don't want to leave. I want to resume this until we are not moving anymore. So, space center. And we're going to recover that vessel. See how much science we're getting out of this one. And we got 30.3 science, so we're actually up to 42 now. This is pretty good. Press done on that one. Let's go back to the research center. Use some of our new research points. We can have bigger engines now. This is for 20, and we can have the survivability pack, which is 15. So we can have both of those now. So actually, let's just do that. Bigger engines, solid state boosters, everything is good. Well, I am going to have a short break now. And I'm going to come back to you in about 10 minutes, I think. See you in 10. And I'm back. And we are ready to plan for the next mission. I think this mission we should actually, I think we could call it going all in. Because now I think we have what we need to build a small lander instead of this. And what we need on this lander, gonna throw away those. We're going to mount our scientific experiment. We need to make the gravity point of this as small as we can. We can mount 2 of these experiments on the side of the pod. Keep the parachute here on top. Let's just put that rocket to one side for the moment. We need some fuel to be able to land this rocket on the surface of wherever we're going. We have this tank, which holds 50.6 liquid fuel, 61.9 oxidizer, 45 liquid fuel, 55 oxidizer. So this is actually a bit bigger. We can use this. And then we need to make some sort of landing platform on this. And we can actually build it. I think we should build it around these tanks. If we have 4 of these tanks, or just 2 on top of each other here. Yes, I think we should now attach this to the bottom, take it off here at the decoupler, put that away, and use the sub-assemblies thing to put that down here and call this lifting rocket 1, which has no description. Let's just say that like so. Now we have just room to play with our little lander here, on which we should put some landing gear. This may want to make it tip over, or at least first I need to put an engine here on the bottom. Ah, scratch my finger. Got something into my finger. I think it's a small metal splinter or something. Well, let's put some gear on this. Like so. Don't that look like a small, neat little lander? We should start those deployed. And then we should test it. Let's go to the launch pad. Now, from experience I know that if we can get this to above 10 kilometers on this fuel mass here, we've got a usable lander that's good for both breaking down and taking us back from Moon, which is the planet we're going to try and go to. Of course not with the parachutes deployed on the bottom like that. It's not gonna go well, no, but we can just have it slide back here, land, and explode like that. Let's revert that flight to launch. Well, testing. Let's do 2 stages here and have the engine alone in one stage, or the first stage. Let's then throttle up, enable the SAS, try again. Let's retract the gear, like so. Let's see how far we go on this fuel. That's 1 kilometer. Just got a lot of acceleration. We're only up to 100 meters per second now, only just. And we're half fuel. I don't think this is going to make it to 10 kilometers. So we may need more fuel on this. We're at 4 now, 25% fuel left. But we're going faster. 150 meters per second. 15% fuel left. About 10% fuel left. We may actually make it 7 kilometers. And going at 200 cuts out. And we can just look at the map here. See our apps is at what? It's at 9.2. That is so close to good enough. Revert to assembly. So that was testing. Ouch, the god damn! I've got something in my finger here that's just annoying me, like. Stable connection today to YouTube. As I was saying, we had two options for solving this, and one of them is going more fuel. That's the one I'm going to take. The other one was mounting a bigger engine. And I don't think we have room for a bigger engine, so I think we're going to have to stick with this. And let's see how far this can take us. Let's go for a second test launch of this. Just throttle that up, enable the SAS, remember to do the staging, and then lift off, retract gear. Well, it's still lifting, we are accelerating. Meters per second. 50 meters per second. Here now we're going to have guests in the house, so I'm going to have to stop my recording here and resume this at another time. It was great doing this. As I said, I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, but I guess it's going to be a second episode at some later date. So for now, bye bye.